Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Psychology and Spirituality, a bridge to a better life. I'm your host, Marcia Trajano, and today I'm joined by the program founder and co-host, Jussara Korngold. Jussara, it is so great to have you with us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Hi, everyone. It's good to be back for another program, another podcast with you, Marcia.
Oh, wonderful. And Jussara, our few episodes, or specifically our last episode, has been dedicated to discussions on the dynamics of love, of communication in the family, right? So we talked a little bit about education. We talked a little bit of all that makes that family unit work. And today, I actually want us to do something a little bit different, which is to uh, dive with you into this notion, and I'm going to use Joanna de Ângelis' term, right? She calls family disturbances in one of her books, which means let's talk about the conflicts, right? We all are belong to a family. At a minimum, we have a mom, right? At a minimum, but we all have different types of families, and inevitably we face conflicts. Misunderstandings, and even some level of tension that can, if not dealt properly, right, can shake the foundations of that home. And I just wanted to see if we can talk about it. And I wanted to do, before we start properly, with a reflection, right? Jusada and everyone who's here with us, let's all think about it. How often do those, small misunderstanding, truly misunderstanding, right? I say something and you hear something else, and that grows into a point of friction. And how often do they grow into sometimes long lasting resentments? And on another point of reflection, how do these seemingly minor conflicts can ripple into our own spiritual growth, right? So we're just going to have that in the back of our minds so that we can think about it. Conflicts exist, but what are we doing with those? So, Jusada, can we talk about this whole area of conflicts?
Yes. First of all, let me say something. Why you
Yeah.
said that at least we have a mom, right? And then it came to my mind that saying it takes a village, right,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
to raise a child. And a village is not the amount of people. It can be a single mom. It can be a single father if by adoption,
Mhm.
but yeah, sometimes it's just one person. And we always have to think that this one person is doing the best that one can. Even if we have you know, complaints, no one is perfect. And at the end of the day, I think it's always good to think maybe I was not giving more or I was giving enough because that person could give me that. We only can give to others what we have. And when we are talking about family, you mentioned the key word, you mentioned unity, right? We are a unity. We are, let's say,
Yeah.
a corporation, right? An Inc.
Yes.
Right?
Good way of thinking, right?
Like it or not, this is how it happens. And I'm sure everyone will think about, your own situation at home or if with your family members, extended families, as you know, with some of them being an easier relationship than with others. But the thing is, we are always requiring so much from the other, forgetting that we are the ones that have to give as well. And when we are talking about a family and to find unity and to reduce disturbances, we have to chip in. We
Yeah.
really have to think about what is my role here? What can I do to contribute for the betterment of situation? As much as we can sometimes contribute for situations to go to its worst, we have to think about what can I do to make it better? Or sometimes it's just not doing anything, just knowing that, all of us have difficult days, whether you are a child or you are an adult. You may be a child suffering bullying at your school, and then you come home and you need to vent, and you have to understand that. But at the end of the day, it's mostly about really caring about each other, to the point of us perceiving the nuances in our behaviors, in their behaviors. Why is this person acting like that? Not labeling immediately, like, you always act like that when I raise a certain subject. Why?
Yeah.
There must be a root behind all that. But sometimes, we understand we all are living in the same world, and we understand how hard it is and how demanding the world is today. And I think um, we've been not paying that much attention to family, not putting that much value in family life. And this is a disaster for society. And this is what Joanna de Ângelis is trying to bring us when she talks about the spiritual constellation. I mean, because
Can you, sorry to interrupt you, but can you talk a little about what is a spiritual constellation based on what Joanna brings to us? So people, all of us have the same understanding.
okay, basically, she's explaining to us one thing, that we are not randomly put together in a household. Okay, so going from the point where we is in the Spiritism believes in reincarnation, among other philosophies, we have to understand that when we are designing, so to say, our new incarnation, we will be placed among a group of spirits that we have history with. This history may be one of tremendous love or hate, or, spirits that can come for the first time in that family constellation, so to say. But there is a history. And above all, even if we do not have a history with each other, we do have histories, and they are going to place us in a way that each one of us are going to have our sympathies, our preferences, and the things that we don't like. And this can become a clash in terms of the relationship on the day-to-day basis. So the constellation would be this group of spirits that they are united through a law of cause and effect. There is a purpose, even if I say, okay, I never met you in any of my previous existences. But in any case, we are placed together because we have something to learn from each other, to grow together. So you can give me something, and I can give you something. I can teach you something, you can teach me something. And this is basically what she talks about, spiritual constellation. So she completely annihilate the idea that we are randomly placed at our household.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. It is so funny, right? Because we have to refocus, right? We all going through conflicts, yes, yes, yes. But if we put in that lens of spiritism, right? And Joanna is so good in terms of bringing that reminder to us. Because number one, family is not just a biological group, as you mentioned, Jussara. It is this meeting of spirits, right? This context, this arena, perhaps we can say, for all of us to grow. That's the environment. But we have to see that the so-called disturbances or conflict are not just problems, but and I love it because we hear Joanna say this over and over again, right? She calls it, those are invitations for us to learn, but I would say not just learn, to forgive and to grow, right? So from that, yeah, go ahead.
The idea of, two stones that has to be rubbed one in each other
Yeah,
in order to be polished.
yeah,
So sometimes the rubbing, even if it's painful, it means that at the end of the day, both of us will live more
yeah,
polished, right?
yeah,
More
yeah,
enlightened, more experienced. And it's the same when we are talking about, the encounter of spirits in the family constellation. And in this case, it's not just father, mother, siblings, but it's is the extended family as well, right? Uh,
caretakers, right? Nanny, all of those, even teachers that care for each individual. That I love, by the way, the idea of a constellation, right? So it's all the stars that gravitate, and there has to be uh, gravity that pulls and pushes and pulls objects together. So I think if we use that metaphor, and I know psychologists do have a method called family constellation, but for us, that spiritual constellation, that idea that we all have a place and we are, as you mentioned, Josada, we were designed. It's not random. There is an intention for us to put at this place with these people, these other bodies, so that all of us can help each other grow, right?
yes, and even before we let, you know, any misguided feelings or not so good feelings take root, we should understand that there is a purpose. And one thing that she mentions when she talks about spiritual disturbances, it is about
Mhm.
honesty.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, thinking about our routine nowadays. Is everyone in the household having, a mobile device, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes I mean, it's not to criticize technology, which is absolutely great. And, I can't wait to have it even more at our disposal, but it has to have a balance. And sometimes we see families that are not communicating with each other. That
Yeah.
has to be a sacred moment. That has to be a moment in the family that I will pay attention to you. I will look at your eyes, and I
Mhm.
will try to see beyond your words, and try to see what are your exact feelings about something that you are just voicing right now. And sometimes I think it's so easier when people say you definitely arrived home with that lone face, and then the other one will, what happened? Nothing. Uh, everything is fine. Of course it's not fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I mean, that should never be an answer, and that
Yeah.
should never be something that the other should accept.
Yeah.
Perhaps the right answer would be, okay, I understand that you are not able to talk about it now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
come back later and talk to me what is going on when you're ready. At least to acknowledge that I'm seeing you.
Yeah. And I think this is key, right, Josara? I see you, and the other person feels seen.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of our huge conflicts, and we're talking about if moving away or beyond the family, right? Um, Urban violence,
Mm-hmm.
communities clashing with each other, cities, countries, the world sometimes at large going through some huge conflicts, and it's expressed through violence, and the only way that we can counter that, which means a movement toward peace, is it has to start within us, right, Jussara? It has to be me first, because I can be violent and with myself, right? I can hurt myself, and I may have some conflicts with myself, and it's expressed in a way that it is contagious with, if I'm a mother, with my kids, if I don't have kids but I have a partner, it's contagious to that partnership, etc., etc. So it's really important to start within. But I love what you said. It's so simple. Just do not, and I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to myself, right? Let us all not accept fine. If I see something, let's make sure that person is seen, right? Feels seen at that point.
And there are other things like you mentioned, violence, and and it was something that I wanted to bring about also
Mhm.
in our reflections, which is domestic violence.
Yes.
It comes with spiritual, the disturbances, the family disturbances that we are talking about.
Yeah.
And what is domestic violence? Is when I scream at my child. It
Mhm.
is when my partner look at me and say, "You look awful in this dress." Uh,
Mhm.
it's not just the beating and hitting. No, it is
Mhm.
not. We have to expand our vision when we are talking about domestic violence, because there are many people that get frustrated,
Yes.
resentment, trauma
Yeah.
out words that are constantly misspoken. So a child, let's say that you have a child that has ADHD, right? And then did I mention it right? I guess I did. A child is hyperactive and always forgetting
Yes.
about
Yeah.
something, and child is not yet diagnosed, but you keep on saying, "Oh my God, you run like crazy all the time, and you always
Yeah.
forget where is your head," and this becomes trauma. And
Yes.
this is
Yeah.
reason for so much regret when your
Yeah.
child is going to be, diagnosed. What can you do to go back in time and erase
Can't.
the labeling that you put on that child?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, do that so easily in terms of relationships. Oh, you are always complaining. Maybe that person is really, he needs
Mhm.
affection. There are people that needs more affection than others. Like we were
Yeah.
saying, we have to put in also in place here to talk about previous reincarnation. Maybe that is a person that brings so much loneliness, solitude
Yeah.
from the past, that now it requires attention, because
Yeah.
you know I want to believe that there are people that really care for me, and so you keep
Yeah.
asking. And I think this is an issue when we are talking about how oblivious we can be in terms of our words and our behaviors towards
Mhm.
it, and how it can represent hurting or
Yeah.
less affection. Because, like,
Yeah.
when I say fine and I say nothing,
Yeah.
it means it was just a rhetorical question, right?
Yeah. I don't have time. I don't
I
have time to hear. Yeah.
was not asking to you start
Yeah.
hearing your troubles now, and I'm
Yeah.
busy
Yeah.
with my mobile, right?
Yeah. Oh, this is a topic that is a favorite topic of mine, and from Joanna, right? I'm just parroting, or maybe being inspired by Joanna de Ângelis, but the favorite topic is how distracted we are. So the exercise to really look and see the other, it's may not be so easy, right, Jussara? But just to reconfirm what you're saying. Domestic violence has different shapes and forms, and we can quickly list them beyond physical violence, right? But we're talking about sexual violence. We also talk about the verbal violence, and in some cases, that neglect. You simply are not paying attention. So
Mhm.
those are really difficult aspects of a family dynamics, right? But I think we talked a little bit already about the idea of a spiritual constellation, in that because that implies the belief in reincarnation, which Josiah and I both believe it, right? But in terms of that cycle of incarnation and reincarnation, there is also an implication, an assumption that there is a growth from one point to the next, from one existence or one life to the next material life. So you mentioned already, Josiah, that we are not randomly put together by any means. And in many cases, if there are some friction, it may represent those cause and effect, or even in you can call it a karma or karmic laws, depending on your Eastern or Western philosophical pendant. But um, we we are all unique, and I think that's what I would like to bring it here. We are all unique, and we're all like these little stars. That is such a poetic view of who we are, but we are all as stars individuals, but we have to see ourselves as part of a larger group, right?
Mhm.
And as such, regardless of our immediate family, and we can pause to think about who they are, right? My family happens to live, my extended family to live very far from me, from me, right? So I can immediately think of them, and there's this warmth that comes to around me just thinking of them, right? And from a spiritist perspective, we see that the family are often the family unit is often made of those spirits that loved one another in the past. But it can also mean, and I'm just repeating what you said, right? But it can also mean that it can be made of those who hurt each other, right?
Mhm.
And either way, we're together to love, to heal those wounds if the wounds are there, but we can only heal if we forgive and we evolve. And to do this, we really need to work. How do we resolve those conflicts? And absolutely, violence is not the answer. The violence feeds more violence, right, Josara?
Yes, we are all very familiar with the phrase unfinished business, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And this is what it is. Reincarnation is about unfinished business. And what a blessing that we have an opportunity to go there and finish. Finish in the sense of, like you were saying, in the sense of making amends, in learning, in
Mhm.
growing, in having more opportunities. And by the way, you, me, and half of the world statistically believe in reincarnation. I'm
That's
just
right. That's right.
a Netflix series that it's about reincarnation. You know,
Yeah.
the Korean series is all about reincarnation, and it's
Which one is it? Josara, do you know the name?
my 19th life.
My 19 Lives. All right.
19th
Mm-hmm.
life.
My
Yeah,
19th life. Yeah.
it's very nice, very like, but it's interesting because everything revolves around reincarnation. One single individual remembering reincarnations, and it really makes you ponder, because sometimes, we all have those questions about, how if I lived before, why don't I remember? And if you watch that, you will see. Oh my
I can't wait I'm going to watch that as soon as I can. Great tip here, Jussara.
what a blessing that I don't remember, because it's too much. Sometimes it's just too much to live with just what we have in one life. Imagine you remembering 19 reincarnations.
Yeah, a thought that came to my mind, Jussara. It's completely off, but it just crossed my mind. It's one of the many, many, many um, portrayal of Sherlock Holmes, right? Of course, Sherlock, as we know, is a fictional character, extremely bright, that could solve just about any problem. But in a rather recent series of, it was a movie. Um, the idea was the reason he was so good at solving mysteries, right? Is because his memory, his brain could capture and hold on to much more than we ordinary people do, right? And I go back to the statistics that we are, we have about, depending on the statistics, from 6,000 to 60,000 different unique thoughts a day, right? So can you imagine all those thoughts coming in? And in addition to those thoughts, the ability to perceive things. And when you're talking about the reincarnation and the impossibility or the blessing not to remember, the thought came to my mind of this one where Sherlock was often depressed and really difficult person to even engage in socially, because he saw so much that he was not comfortable, right? He was never at ease. And I think it's an interesting way to put those two things together. If I know everything that I missed, all my missed deadlines as a project manager, Jussara, that is the worst thing you can do, is miss a deadline. But all the missed deadlines, quote unquote, because all the things that we were expected, right, to do, to accomplish, to perform, and we don't. Or in the process, we do with less quality. So all of those guilt that we would carry within us would be most likely too much, would crush our souls. So from that perspective, let's watch the series from Netflix and really ponder about the blessings of not remembering,
Yeah.
so that we can focus on the aspects that we can control in this present
Yeah,
moment.
but you see, Marcia, even that is hard, because since we are
Yeah.
talking about
Mm.
psychology and spirituality,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Even though we do not have a mind like Sherlock Holmes, and this, like you said, it's really a blessing.
Yeah.
It's all there. So I don't have the remembrances, but I have the feelings. I have the
You
emotions.
got it. Yes.
Have
Yeah.
the happiness, the anguish that it's unknown. Sometimes, I look at the flower that I'm seeing for the first time, but I mean, it gives me such a such an awe, such an inspiration, such a moment of happiness, and I don't know why. It's a simple flower, and then it can be related to something in your past, or
Yeah.
on the on
Yeah.
the other side, there may be something that will trigger some bad memories from other lives. So we have to understand that we are very complex beings, and this is what makes living in a household so difficult, because we
That's right.
are all, like you said,
Yeah.
universe per se.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're all under the same roof. And sometimes our universes clash,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we do not understand the reason why we are together. And this is what Joanna de Ângelis is trying to say. You have to be open. You have to talk to each other, to your partner, to your children, to your mother, to your father, because unless there is honesty about your emotions, how can we really, find a little peace and sincerity at home? If I cannot, it's not like, some people do, they put their best behavior once they are out of the door, and then, oh my God, they are horrible people inside the
Yeah.
house. It's not about that. It's about really, being capable of showing yourself, of talking to each other. And she mentions about even sexual relationships, how they are
Correct.
included. And in the case you do not have this dialogue, this sincere dialogue that may create a bigger void that you already may be seeing. And so when I think about it, family therapy, couples therapy is the way to go.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do not need to look for a professional outside the home.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to talk to each other. If you don't, there will be probably more and more separation.
Yeah.
Children grow up, they start their own lives, and less they feel any connection with their
Yeah.
parents. And their
So, yeah.
them.
So, sorry, go ahead and finish. And I just have an example.
And so or then children grow to university, the spouses grow apart. And how many divorces we see when people come at this age, right? It
Yeah.
means like
I There
I
was
was
just an article. Yes, Jussara. There was just an article about it. Divorce rates, everyone, is going down in the US, right? Divorce rates is going down, except for after the third, the third of your life. Say after you are in your 60s and your family members, the young ones, are gone, as you mentioned, and perhaps you start to wind down your career, and all of those missions or responsibilities of your life that were your focus, they're gone, and you have to readjust the focus again, which should have never uh, be out of focus, by the way. But the focus is each other. If it's a couple, the rate of divorce at that age is growing, and it's a new phenomenon. Isn't it funny, right?
I would say more, it's not about just having to readapt, but it's about, repressing emotions. So
Ah,
now I'm free. And
mhm.
now I'm still, at an age that I can, you know, live my life. And
Yeah,
I think that this is more of the feeling. But why? Because there was not this honesty. There was not this, part of sincere partnership among the members of the family. And like I say,
mhm.
it comes to a point where uh, your son and daughter are no longer just your son and daughters, the ones that you have to say what to do and how to
Yeah,
raise. They are grown ups and adults, and you have to be friends. You have to find something in common. You have to have this spiritual connection. And one of
yeah,
the things that she mentions that is very important in terms of that can help this
yeah,
family dynamics is exactly spirituality in the home.
yeah,
Is about having some spiritual beliefs. It can be whatever one you choose, whatever one is best for you. But that moment in the family where the family are going to sit together, read from a spiritually enlightening book or message, or just reflect. Along our conversation,
Yeah.
we were talking about how little we pay attention to things, and I always remember you know, uh, Eastern culture, and Thich Nhat Hanh is speaking about mindfulness. Okay,
Yeah.
today we are going to sit together and reflect about mindfulness. It can be
Yes.
just one word. What does it mean to you? How
Yeah.
are we applying this in our day-to-day lives? Are you being mindful when I'm talking to you? Are you being mindful when I prepare this meal for you? Are you being mindful when you say some things to me? Just a single thing, a single phrase from one of the wisdom that we have all over the world, the wise people that came before us in our time, like Joanna de Ângelis here that we are talking about her, and Divaldo, Franco, and so many others. And we read a phrase and we think about it. So this is a sacred moment, and this is a moment that is really going to be the one that will put everything together. It's like it's the yeast in your dough, and make
Yeah.
grow the emotion towards your other, uh, and I think she says it beautifully. It doesn't matter what religion, what philosophy you follow, but it's important to have something, to
Yes.
have some spirituality. I just had to go to the mountain Sinai hospital today, and then there was a huge
Right.
one of those how do I say, the um, advertisings there, the
Yeah.
postcards there, the huge one that was saying um, the National Spiritual Week, National
Ah.
Spiritual Week Care. And I said, what? I felt like taking a picture and sending it to my friends. Listen, this is in a hospital, a banner,
Yes.
a banner,
A banner. Yeah. Uh-huh.
you know, National Spiritual Week Care. So, like us caring about our spirituality.
Yes.
And you see, thank God it's all around. We just have to pay more attention. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's really interesting for Spiritist families, right? We are encouraged, highly encouraged, to at least once a week to sit as a family and read a sacred book. It can be the Bible, it can be the Gospel according to Spiritism, etc., etc. But that moment of reflection, of reading and reflecting with your children, with each other, really is key for a harmonious life. Can you talk a little bit more about it,
yeah,
Jussara? It's such a good practice,
I
and
was
not every family does, right? Not every family does.
I'm very open about that, right? So
Yeah.
one day in the Spiritist Center, one of the attendants came to me and said, I want to do the gospel at home, but my husband is Muslim,
Yeah.
and my two children are raised Muslim as well. And I said, it doesn't matter which book you are using. You can use
Correct. Yeah.
Torah, because when we are talking about that, that moment of prayer at your home, we are talking about all the family being together. And so if
Yeah.
this is what is going to be, to resonate in them, you will use them. You will use this moment. And why do you making the question, it came to my mind that it could be, a movie night.
That's a good point, right? A
Together,
moment of togetherness, right, Jussara? Yeah,
let's sit together and watch a movie. Each week, one family member is going to choose a movie, and then you are going to be sitting together, sharing popcorn and and
yeah,
and, and exchanging ideas about the movie. That's what is the spirituality that we are talking about.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
the unity that we are talking about, the sacredness of family, of
Mm.
having that moment as being sacred. No, today is the day,
Our time. Yeah, yeah,
time that we have that. You can be invited to join, but this is the day that we have our time. It's not
yes,
Sunday lunch. It's not the same thing because it's too busy. No, everyone is going to be sitting, watching, focusing on the same thing, and relaxing their minds and joining hands, or
yeah, yeah,
sharing popcorn, and then commenting about the movie. And Sunday lunch can be more hectic, and feel more like an obligation. But
yeah,
you see, it's each one will find their own thing. It can be a game night,
yeah,
right? With
yeah.
a board game, I get a board game. Let's play all together.
But it's all about connection, right?
Connect.
A point of connection.
Mhm.
And when we are investing in that, when we're making huge, not small, huge investment to society as a whole, because it begins in that most sacred environment of a family, that family unit,
Mhm.
right? And I can imagine that whatever that ritual may be, and you said it so well, Jussara, it can be reading the Bible or the Quran or any other sacred book or a book of poetry or watching a movie, whatever it is that the ritual that it is there, and it leads to, from a psychology perspective, this emotional safety and connection among each other. And I think at the end of the day, this is what we're talking about, right? Just throughout our conversation today, it's about creating the trust that exists, and with trust you can speak about all the good, the bad, and the ugly of your days. The fact that you as a child or a teenager, you are you are being treated maybe unfairly or inappropriately or even bullied, I don't know. But whatever is making you uncomfortable, let's have your home as that nest of trust and respect and comfort, right?
Yeah, and we keep on saying how disturbed the world is.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
for that, I was thinking about Gandhi's famous statement:
yeah, yeah.
"It's the peace you want to see in the world." So if you cannot manage to have peace, to live in a harmonious as much as possible, or doing your effort in your
Mhm.
home, because this is what you will bring outside,
Yeah,
your vibe,
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
as hard as one person may be, as a spirit, and maybe because of previous incarnations, because the history, there
Yes,
is a lot to grow.
yeah,
you you come from a household where there is peace, there is understanding, there is the trying to make it better.
hmm,
You will be better. There's
yeah,
it You cannot escape from this fate. We
mhm,
reflect our homes outside our homes. And so this is why when we talk about family and family responsibility, and even when we talk about in Spiritism in terms of parenthood as
Mhm.
being a mission, it's not even a task. It is a mission because you have the mission of bringing forth well-raised, spiritually balanced citizens. And this is what we have to pay attention to. And even if you are the parents in this, the relationship with the child, you grow as well. So there
Yeah.
is an exchange of growing and learning, and at the end, we are responsible for what we are seeing in the world today.
Yeah.
So that's why it is a family constellation, in the sense that here we gather under this roof, but I make an impact
Yeah.
in the whole world according to how we live here. And
Yeah.
if you want to, to love the world, to be fraternal, to love one another, how can we do that if not by starting in our own home? So
Yeah.
we have to, I know how hard this can be for some people, but we have to put aside our intolerance, our lack of forgiveness, and remembering that this is a precious, precious opportunity for us to think about that one that is more difficult to live with in your family, and do your best. As long as you're doing your best, it doesn't matter whether there will be a super harmonious
Mhm.
relationship in the end or not, but you will be doing your best, and be sure that it will make an impact on the other.
Ah, I love it. I love it. It is right. I guess to just put into your words into another sentence, society at large cannot transform itself spiritually without first transforming that family life. So this is really an important discussion, Jussara. I really, really appreciate it. Do you have any final words before we close today?
Just one final phrase that I have here: social regeneration is impossible without family regeneration. So
Yeah,
let's start small
yeah,
and do what we have to do, and really
absolutely.
love one another in
Yeah.
our our household.
Yes. So today, with Jussara, we discussed how this peaceful society depends on all of us, right? It depends on how our families reflect the peace and harmony that we want to see in the world. And each act of patience, forgiveness, and mutual respect within that environment, that family environment, contributes to everyone. It's the individual and the family contributing directly to the collective growth. So let's all commit to do a little bit more, even if it is today, I'm going to listen more, or today I'm going to look in the eye of my brother, my sister, my mother, my father, whoever. That little thing may be, I'm going to commit to give a hug when I don't before, I haven't, right? Whatever it is your expression of love, let's commit one little bit more than what you're already doing, because it is a bold invitation that Joanna puts to us to transform society within our efforts, within our control, within our families. Thank you, Jussara. Thank you, everyone, for being here. If this is the first time you're listening to our program, please note that the Psychology and Spirituality program, they are weekly and they're all based on the works by Joanna de Ângelis. And we sincerely hope this has maybe inspired you to think about your family differently. I want to also just thank our sponsors, Mansão do Caminho, the United States Spiritist Federation, the International Spiritist Council, and AMI Brazil. Thank you, everyone, and until next time.